Well, we're going to get started in just a few minutes. Welcome to Friday Coffee. I see some people are still joining us. As I said earlier, I'm Susan from the Chamber, and I'm at the Chamber office, and I'm working on this with Ashley. She's helping me out. We're kind of co-piloting, so she's going to be driving the PowerPoint. I'm making sure that she is ready. Ashley, how's it going? I know you said you were having some
everything's
good. internet issues. We all kind of struggle with some of those technical difficulties. So wanted to make sure you were ready to go before we kind of kicked it off.
Everything's good.
Okay. Okay, well, welcome to Friday Coffee. Ashley, if you want to advance to the screen, we'll start the program. It's glad to have everybody here. Okay, just a few things to note, and we're all getting pretty familiar with our Zoom meetings, but it's best if everybody does remain muted. That way prevents any unwanted background noise. If you have any questions for the speaker, just put those in the chat. We'll all watch that and make sure that we get those addressed when we have our Q&A at the end of the meeting. And we do ask that we record these meetings, obviously, so we can have them and we can put them on our website. But we ask that you don't use any portion of this program without getting permission from the presenter. We're sharing the information, and if you feel like that's something that you want to use later, please ask permission to do so. So with that, we'll go on. Good morning to everybody. As I said, I'm Susan Neal Doughty with the Chamber. Glad to be here on Friday Coffee. We've got a lot of folks joining us. It looks like over 66 folks here. As first, I'd like to start off by welcoming some of our newer members. So Ashley Timmy, as I said, is helping me with this presentation. She's driving and I'm talking. So don't we love technology here? New members this quarter. We appreciate all of our members, of course, but we want to celebrate that we have new members joining our chamber, and we're happy to have them here. You may know some of these businesses and some that you don't. I would encourage you to do business with other chamber members and get to know them. Covenant Chiropractor and Wellness. Dan Basler is an individual a lot of folks know, but now he's in retirement mode and he's joined the chamber. General Printing, Imago Day Photography, La Chica Loco, Last Flight Brewing Company, the Missouri Propane Safety Commission, Newville Consulting, Pete's Siding Supply, the Pizza House of Wardsville, Providence Financial, the Target Store, Travis Duncan Photography, and the Carden Group. So welcome to those new members. And I hope that, although I can't see everybody right now who's on the call, I hope some of them are joining us when maybe they'll make an announcement or do an introduction. So Ashley, if you want to go on to the next slide. And that's what we traditionally would do introductions. This is a good problem that with over 70 folks on this call right now, I don't think we're going to go through and do introductions. I think we'll go ahead and go on with the program. And if there's some time at the end of this program, we can unmute and show video and maybe introduce ourselves and do some community announcements. We don't have a sponsor for this Friday Coffee, but you can be a sponsor for future Friday Coffees if you would like. It's great recognition. You get email announcements to our members. You get a few announcements or slides in this presentation. And we work with Rochelle with Cumulus Media. She'll do some radio promotion for you. That sponsorship is $100, and I am securing sponsors for 2021. They will be Zoom, they will be hybrid, or they will be in person. We don't really know. And I think everybody's kind of used to being flexible, and whatever works best, that's what we'll do. But we want to help you promote your business, and being a sponsor of one of our events is one way to do that. So reach out to me if you have an interest in that. Chamber announcements. We're quickly going to go through some things that we have on the chamber calendar. First up, our social media forum. That is next week, Thursday, December 17th at 8 a.m. That is Zoom at this time. And that is presented by Kenny and Natalie Newville. And the topic this time is try and stump the experts. And they have experts in quotes, but I would say those folks really are experts. If you have attended our social media forum, they're not only experts and they know the information, or they will find it out, or we just collaborate as a group. And it's really very informative how you use your social media. Technology is always changing, and Kenny and Natalie do a great job in those presentations. So that's next Thursday, December 17th. I encourage you to join if you haven't. An opportunity for you to network, and it's also next week at Spectators. We are having our tradition. It is December Chamber Connections at Spectators with Fisher Body Shop. That'll be Thursday, December 17th from 4 to 5:30. So stop by, free appetizers at Cash Bar. And we also appreciate the support we get from KWOS and Cat Country as our sponsor. If you have an event, we would like for you to include it in our JC community calendar. This is an opportunity. We wanted to provide a service to the community. It's a clearinghouse calendar. So our calendar doesn't just list the chamber events. We want to list your events too. It's a great way for you to be informed and share events that you might have coming up either this month or next year. So jcchamber.org is where you find that community calendar. Encourage you to post. It's free for members to post. Okay, Ashley, I'm wondering if she's having a lag in her internet.
I am. Hold on. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, and just a reminder to love what's local. The chamber encourages you this time of year especially to buy local, support our local businesses, retailers, restaurants. The chamber wants to help you do that. So check out, we're getting emails from us on December deals. So you can click on that and see what deals our member retailers are offering in December. And if you have something you would like to submit, we encourage you to do that. So it's so important right now for you to support our local businesses, and you'll have an opportunity to save while doing so. So Chamber encourages you to love what's local. And with today's speaker, I'm going to turn the program over to Alan Witt, and she is with Tegetoff Development, and it's the future Simonsen Lofts. So Alan, do you want to go ahead and share your screen?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
All right, can everybody see that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much for that introduction, Susan. I'm so excited to be here today and talk to everyone about the future of Simonsen and what we've been working on. We get lots of questions about it. So before we look too far ahead into what the future apartments are going to look like, I thought it might be interesting to look back on the history of the building, being that I know many of us are here from Jefferson City and maybe went to school there ourselves. I wanted to show a little bit of the transformation of the building itself. So the piece of land where Simonsen sits was actually the first piece of land purchased for public education in Jefferson City in 1835. It was just a little schoolhouse. That schoolhouse was later where the first students of Lincoln University were taught. Fast forward a little bit, in 1904, the first separate high school building was built on that location. 10 years later, in 1914, they added a large addition on the north side of that building, which is the oldest piece of the building that still stands today. That's what you can see if you're looking up at Simonsen from East McCarty. And then in 1938, they removed the 1904 portion and added on a twin of the 1914 portion and also the gymnasium. And then, of course, in 1992, the office and locker room additions were added on as well, which you can tell on the exterior, the white areas of the building. So here's a quick run through of those different pieces of the building. This was 1904. This is if you're looking at it from Miller Street. And then 1914 is when this big addition was added on to that 1904 piece you can see sticking up top. And that's still existing today. 1938, they added, a twin of that 1914 onto the south side and the gymnasium over here. And you can see the original connector between the two, the main building and the gym. And then, of course, this is the school building that we're most familiar with, that many of us probably went to school there. You can see the additions of the office and the locker rooms on the back side. And then, of course, we had the tornado in May of 2019, which caused an extreme amount of destruction in our community and definitely to this building. You can see from the photo, of course, a large portion of the roof was completely torn off, which made, a lot of the upper floors exposed. The gymnasium got a ton of water in it that made the wood floors have waves, 2 feet, 3 feet high. It caused a lot of damage, and it led many of us, I think, in Jefferson City to wonder, what's the future of this building going to be? Eventually that led to the school district putting the building up for bid, and that's where we came in. We didn't want to see this building be torn down or anything like that. We wanted to make sure it had a great future. So we submitted a bid. It was accepted in August, and we closed on the property. Let me get to the next slide here. We closed on the property in September. Our plans for the future, right now we're in the design process. We've been working with architects, general contractor, getting some really great designs in place. And we hope to start construction in June of 2021. And we expect that to last about a year. You can see here on this image, the lot that we purchased, and we also have this parking lot across the street. Okay, so I get tons of questions about what these apartments are really going to be like. So I'm going to try to cover as much as I can about that. But like I said, we are still in the design phase. So a lot of this is subject to change as we meet new challenges with this building. Right now, we are expecting to have 67 units, most of those being 1 bedrooms and about 16 being 2 bedrooms right now. Those will range anywhere from 500 square feet to 1,300 square feet. The building itself is almost 90,000 square feet. And as you can imagine, it's a large building and there's a lot of interior space without windows. So those are the spaces we're excited to utilize for amenity space. Some of those amenities that we have programmed out right now include a cyber lounge. Think of kind of a space where you can go and do some work from home activities. A theater room, a fitness center, a dog wash station, because we do plan on allowing pets, and tenant storage. So we think those amenities are going to really help this building stand apart from some other apartment situations, because we know those are tough to include sometimes. For the budget for the project, very early projections right now, but we're expecting about $12 million. Which, as you can imagine, a project of that size will create a large number of temporary jobs and some permanent jobs as well. So we're excited about that. So some of the things we've talked about with the design, you can see in this top photo, this is a photo of the gym where they had to tear out a lot of the hardwood floors due to that water damage. But the high ceilings in here pose a challenge, but think it's going to be really cool. We plan on doing loft style apartments in the gym and the library. They both have very high ceilings, so those really lend themselves to that style of unit. And then down below, a better picture of that office addition. You can expect part or most of those additions to be removed. you can kind of tell there from the photo that those additions are covering up some of the original building, including original window openings. And for us, windows are really important when it comes to putting in apartments. So we plan on removing most likely the entire locker room addition on the north side of the building and part of this office addition so that we can expose more of those window openings. And then one of the things, I'm most excited about is restoring some of the historic pieces of the building. You can see in these images here, there's some really cool wooden built-ins in a lot of the classrooms here, and a lot of them are in really good shape, and we definitely think we're going to be able to restore a lot of those. So if you can imagine having, a really neat modern apartment, but with these cool historic elements integrated in, I think that's going to be a really cool feeling. Classroom doors, a lot of those we're going to be able to restore. And one thing we found, you can see that's been hidden above the drop ceiling for many, many years is some corbels in a lot of the corners. So all those things I'm so excited about restoring. We have nominated the building to be added to the National Register because it is a really important building in our community's history. It's been an educational institution for over 100 years. So that kind of brings me to the next slide here. The philosophy at Tegethoff Development is to develop irreplaceable buildings in irreplaceable locations. And we are so grateful that the school district trusted us with this important building in our community to give it new life, help it survive when it was questionable on what was going to happen to the building. We've put together an amazing team of experts that's really going to make this outstanding apartment building in our community and really bring a product that I don't think we've seen in Jefferson City. And I think it's really going to blow people away. So with that, I'm going to introduce Jeff Tegethoff. He is the founding principal of Tegethoff Development. He's going to speak a little bit on the experience that our team has and then open it up for questions.
Yeah, thank you, Alan, and thanks to everybody who's listening. My name's Jeff Tegethoff, and my wife and I live in St. Louis, but my wife's from Jefferson City. She went to Blair Oaks, so my mother-in-law lives in Jefferson City still, so we're there quite often. We develop, like Alan said, irreplaceable buildings in irreplaceable locations. We've focused on the Midwest, Indianapolis, St. Louis, Kansas City, Cincinnati, and we began to expand into what I would call, other secondary or tertiary markets. I feel like we have a competitive advantage to do that because we're not your typical build them, fill them, and flip them type of developer. Most residential developers do just that. They build or renovate a building, they get it filled up with tenants, and then they sell it to somebody else. We take a premise of develop to own forever. So this is a building that my family, we would intend to own, for a generation or two. So we make decisions, I'd say, quite a bit differently than most developers. Everything from, how we treat the historical context of a building like this, in new construction, the types of materials we use on the exterior facades, all the way down to the types of plumbing fixtures and flooring and countertops and cabinets that we would use. We're able to spend quite a bit more money on those types of things and bring in a much higher quality product because we amortize it over, a holding period of 30, 40, 50 years as opposed to 2 or 3. So we find great value in delivering great product. We go into markets, whether it's Jefferson City or St. Louis, and we deliver a product that we feel is unexpected by the market. And we're typically, the highest quality product in any market that we're in. We've developed a little over 2,000 apartment units since 2015, a little over $500 million worth of value. We have an additional $400 million of projects under construction as of today. We also have focused on historic buildings. It's a unique niche in the marketplace. There's requirements. A lot of developers don't like doing historic buildings because there are requirements on the holding period after you get them nominated to the National Historic Register and go through the state or federal historic tax credit programs. But we've recently completed 6 historic projects, one recently in St. Louis, where we converted the old city hospital in Lafayette Square near Soulard. We converted those buildings into 74 apartment units. We also just this year completed a 160 unit, $40 million project in Cincinnati. So we've done historic projects in a number of states. We're very familiar with the process in the state of Missouri. These are just some renderings of some recent projects. One of them is in Lee Summit in the Kansas City area. I believe one of them's in Cincinnati, and one of them's in Chesterfield, Missouri, which is a suburb of St. Louis. I don't know if you have other slides or not, Alan, for me. Nope. So that's it. Again, thanks. We're really excited about it. You know, I know, although my wife didn't go here, she's very excited to see this come to life. We'll actually be in Jefferson City tomorrow to visit Grandma. We're, like I said, we're excited to see this come to life. Yeah, one other thing Alan mentioned, you know, we did already nominate the building to the National Historic Register, and you know, that's a process that once that's done, this building will always be on the National Historic Register, and it will protect the building for generations to come. And it also enforces a set of rules and regulations on us and brings scrutiny from the state level and the federal level as into what we can or can't do to this building. It's a great program. It does come with a lot of restrictions, but it does definitely ensure the preservation of the building for the next 100 years or so. So we're excited about that. And I think Jefferson City should be excited about that as well.
Thank you, Jeff. So I think, Susan, now is the Q&A portion. Does that sound right?
Yes, it is. And there is a question in the chat. And Donna, I don't know if you want to unmute and ask it yourself, or if you want me to. Donna, do you want to ask your question?
Yeah, thanks, Susan. I didn't know, Alan or Jeff, did you all also buy the major field or just the Simonsen building area?
We did not purchase the field. We just have the building and the parking lot. Originally, we put in a very small bid for the field. It poses some challenges because it is in a floodplain and has a large storm drain going underneath it. So building onto that field would be a challenge and nearly impossible. So we do not own the field.
Okay, thanks.
And that was Donna Dietz, by the way. Thank you, Donna, for that question. So if you have a question, you might go ahead and just introduce yourself and then ask the question. And I see that Frank has his hand held. So go ahead, Frank.
Frank Rice. The question is, what price do you anticipate the apartments going for, and will they be rented or sold?
That's a good question. They will all be rentals. They will not be condos. They will be rental apartments. I think, I would say the estimated range is probably going to be, starting around $800 a month up to probably $1,500 a month for the larger 2-bedroom units.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from anyone? Go ahead, Frank. It looks like you still have the floor.
Do you plan an open house before you start renting to show it off to the public?
Yeah, you bet. Yeah, for sure. A couple things that'll happen. We usually wait, we'll do some type of groundbreaking ceremony, obviously, which everybody will be invited to. That'll probably be in the summer, but we will definitely do an open house, probably multiple open houses. And, hopefully by summer of 22, we won't be wearing masks and we'll be able to be closer than 6 feet and enjoy that tour.
Sounds good to me. No masks.
Alan, this is Alan
Yep.
Mudd. I started teaching at Simonsen in my teaching career, and then I went to the high school, spent a lot of time there, and then ended up at Simonsen. So I know the building and the site pretty well. What are your plans for heating and cooling the units? Are they going to be energy efficient? And what are your plans for the theater?
So there are, right now, our architect is planning everything towards a specific set of standards. I think they're called the green standards. Is that right, Jeff? To make them all efficient. And each apartment is going to have its own heating and cooling system. With the auditorium, that's definitely one of the challenges we've been trying to understand as we go through this design process. It's a huge space, and it's also one of those areas that makes the building so unique and will most likely be limited as to what we can do with it based on the historic guidelines that were given. So we're kind of still working through that, but most likely we'll clean it up, make it look like it once did, and just kind of leave it as is for now.
Yeah, I think there's some what they call green building practices that go along with historic building renovation. And that's been a kind of a hot topic in the historic preservation world, because in the past, those have been in conflict, with historic preservationists versus environmentalists. They oftentimes didn't overlap, but that's changed quite a bit. It is sponsored by LEED, which is, Leadership in Energy Environmental Design. Some of you may have heard of LEED standards, but there's specific, and the U.S. Green Building Council. So there's definitely things that we would do to make these, I would say these will probably be the most energy efficient apartments in the entire city, for sure.
What about the common areas for heating and cooling? Is that going to be ground source, or what do you plan to do?
Everything will be split systems. I mean, we're still in that analysis stage. Again, there are some, I would say, there's some boundaries we have to fit in with the Historic Building Council, but yeah, we're working on that right now. We haven't gotten a full design build on the mechanicals yet, but that's in process. And, I would say that again, since we do intend to be long-term owners of this property, we typically err on the side of being, more energy efficient than other developers would. One of the reasons most developers don't like to do it is because it costs more money. But again, given that we can amortize that over a longer holding period, we tend to do that type of stuff. But we're definitely in that stage right now. I would say we're probably, a couple months out before we really have a full deep dive analysis of I know there'll be split systems, which is a step in the right direction.
Well, not everybody's probably interested in this, but we had some challenges with it when I was teaching, and I was the student council sponsor, and we were involved. But do you have plans for elevated walkway between the building and the parking? Or we had trouble getting a crosswalk there, and it's kind of a dangerous hill coming both ways on Miller Street.
Yeah, no plans for an elevated walkway as of yet. I would say, we will definitely work with, the local municipality on a crosswalk, and, having improvements to that parking lot. I think, I'd say a long-term plan, if this goes well and these lease up well, which I think they will, there's the potential to do something on that parking lot that maybe we could add more units over there, and at that point, try to connect the two sites via some type of elevated walkway. But I'm all ears. Maybe we can go underground.
Hi, this is Janet Waring-Low. Coming from the marketing perspective, I was wondering how you could define who you anticipate being sort of your ideal renter. Is it a millennial, baby boomer, mixed use? What is your vision?
Yeah, listen, I would say, it's probably no secret that there's been an incredible brain drain out of Jefferson City. It's like a lot of secondary and tertiary cities. And as well, there's a lot of transient workers that choose to live other places and come into Jefferson City to work. We want to change that paradigm. It's not an uncommon thing for us to be on the forefront of that by bringing, Class A housing to a new area. This will be as nice or nicer than anything that's been delivered, not just in like Columbia, but anything that's been delivered in St. Louis or even Kansas City for that matter. And oftentimes housing, drives somebody's decision on where they want to be. Obviously there's been, I would say I've probably had over a dozen people that work in government, whether they're elected officials or lobbyists, huge broad spectrum of age ranges that have early inquired about residential units. But, I think it'll be surprising to people what you'll see in a cross section. What we're seeing across the entire Midwest is, we'll have tenants from age 28 to 88 in places like this. And it's, everything from millennial workers to empty nesters and retirees that want to be closer connected with quality housing to kind of where their action is or where they work. So
I think this might be my last question or two, but do you have plans for outside seating, park area for the residents to use? And the second part of that, on the Lafayette side of Simonsen, there's some substandard housing that hopefully this will inspire others to upgrade.
Yeah, development kind of happens by osmosis. We see it in a lot of urban areas. Again, we're very willing to be on the forefront of that. And, we will be strongly encouraging other developers and other building owners around that area to make investments. I think there'll be a lot of eyes on our success, and we're fine with that. And, again, what we've found is that, we can kind of set the high watermark for new or renovated development in areas like this. And, everything will kind of rise around there. So I'm very encouraged by that. I've already had a number of discussions with other community leaders and building owners that I think, I don't want to throw out the term renaissance yet, but I think you'll see increased investment in the immediate area over the next 5 years. That's kind of with our building being the catalyst of some development in that immediate area.
And to answer your question about the exterior amenity space, we do have plans for some patio areas, potentially a deck that would overlook the north side so you can see downtown and the Capitol. The views from these apartments are going to be incredible. So whether you're looking downtown or looking at Lincoln's campus, they're really, really spectacular.
I have a question about the theater space. Would this be usable for community meeting room?
Yeah, the theater space, as Alan mentioned, has been a topic of discussion for us. I would say, we're not doing anything really to the theater space besides kind of shoring things up and cleaning it up as of right now. I think that would kind of be a phase 2 plan, but we're definitely trying to, we want to be creative with that space and figure out how we can use it as an asset, not just for our building, but for the community, because it's a pretty unique space. We're obviously limited as to what we can do with it by the historic, once we put it on the historic register. It's not like they're going to allow us to like put a flat floor in there and make it a bunch of units or things like that. So, I think if and when it gets re-envisioned, it's going to have some type of community use, because I don't know what we could make it into it as an amenity for like 100 residents.
How many people can be seated in there?
Gosh.
That's a good question. I think it's a couple hundred,
Yeah.
at least.
Yeah, I think it's several hundred. My
Yeah.
last question, I promise, maybe. Is it going to have restricted entry, or are you going to have keypad entry to get into the building?
Yeah, that's a great question. We are very focused as developers on technology in general across all of our product. And so we implement, I would say, the highest tech buildings in any market that we're in, everything from access control to, we have, we utilize what I would call like the Apple product of access control for unit entries as well as building entries and security. Given that we do a lot of historic buildings, we do a lot in urban areas where, it's not uncommon where you go one block in either direction and it's a completely different neighborhood. Security is incredibly important for renters. That's where you can drive value, and I think we can create a unique product. And that's everything from access control to lighting, to things like that. But everything from the quality of the internet access to access control, those will definitely be on the forefront of any project we do, including Simonsen. Our goal is always to make people the easiest for them to live there as possible. Nobody really seems to like carrying keys around anymore, things like that, and being able to access, allow access to the building virtually is pretty important across the spectrum.
We'll pause a little bit and see if anyone has a question. I see
Susan?
Missy. Yes, go ahead.
I don't have it. This is Donna again.
Donna?
I don't have a question, but I just wanted to let you know on behalf of Eastside residents and business owners and Historic City of Jefferson, we're very excited about what you're doing with this, because it is creating a whole new emphasis in our community on that historic aspect and really increasing the value of everything around it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. This won't be our last project in Jefferson City. Trust me. We feel there's other opportunities in the area. Obviously, we need to kind of see how the success of this one goes, but we will definitely be active buyers and preservers of historic buildings in Jefferson City, and want to encourage other developers to come alongside of us. I think there's plenty of opportunity in Jefferson City to develop and redevelop and preserve historic buildings. We're happy to be a part of that. Yeah, you'll definitely see more from us.
Good. Donna, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I wanted to echo, I was scrolling through, I see a lot of folks from involved in the historic city of Jefferson that are on the call, and a lot of other community folks and developers. And I think it is a wonderful opportunity, a catalyst. Missy Bono, she's on the call and she echoed that. Missy, did you want to say anything as far as? I know she's in the chat. I don't know. Just want to echo that, Jeff, we really appreciate you and your investment in our community. And I like the word catalyst, and it's couldn't be definitely a catalyst for positive growth in our area. And we just are appreciate you taking this time to visit with us. Alan is a familiar face and name in Jefferson City, active in the chamber and YP and other things. And it's nice for you to spend some time with us today sharing about this project. So
Yeah, we're delighted to have Alan as part of the team. My wife's actually known Alan for a long time. Alan's the one that, Alan and her husband are the ones that brought this property to our attention, and I took that as an opportunity to bring Alan in-house. So we're excited to have her as part of the team. Obviously, she's based there in Jefferson City, and it'll be our boots on the ground there for our activity there. So.
Any other questions or comments? I know I saw some folks from Jefferson City Public Schools on, Dr. Lithicum or anyone else. Any comments or before we?
I would make a final comment, maybe it's final, but having taught there a long time and having lived in Jefferson City and being involved in the Chamber and Historic City of Jefferson, it's encouraging to see the transformation of this wonderful historic property from almost the wrecking ball to something of this quality. And I think it's exciting for all of us that have a background with Simonsen and have a love for it and for Jefferson City to see the quality of the planning and the wonderful future possibilities for that whole neighborhood. So we give you several thumbs up and thank you profusely for what you're doing and what your plans are. And it's one of the more exciting things I think that's happened in Jefferson City in a long time. So thanks again.
Okay. I'm pausing, see if anyone else wants to chime in with a question or comment about this exciting project, Simonsen Lofts.
Hi, Susan, it's Dan.
Oh yeah, Dan Basil, Historic City of Jefferson. Good.
You know, I always like to see before and after pictures of work being done. Are there going to be any tours available before it gets started and start building the, you know, the excitement for it as they're being built and coming about?
Probably not any tours, but we do plan on, I mean, we've already taken hundreds and hundreds of photos. I'd really love to get some drone footage and kind of create a before and after transformation so that, yes, you can see it when it's all nice and pretty, but you get to see, you know, the real experience of what it's like now inside as well.
Good. Okay. Okay, well, at this time, I'll turn it over. We have a few minutes. Does anybody, we didn't do introductions because we had over 80, almost 85 at one point, folks joining our call. That shows that the great interest in this subject. So does anyone have any member announcements that they like? We're not going to go through and do introductions. I don't think that that's probably a good idea with a number like this, but please unmute yourself and introduce yourself if you have any information to share about your business or possibly something you're doing volunteering in the community. It's a busy month, so.
Susan, I'll go ahead and let folks know if anybody is still looking to book the trolleys for the holiday light tours, let me know ASAP because we've just got a few time slots still open. This is Donna, by the way.
Yes, Donna Dietz from the Trolley Company, the Holiday Lights Tour. Great tradition and, you know, and that's a COVID-friendly event, you know.
This is Frank Reisick with Evening Rotary. We've got a very interesting program coming up this Tuesday evening. Bob Reed with the Breakfast Rotary Club has done an energy audit on building community bridges, which I believe used to be the old Milo Walls warehouse. And he's got a very in-depth discussion of everything that went into the energy audit and how he's going to help building community bridges, which works with youth in the area to become a little bit more self-supporting with not spending so much money on energy.
This is Alan Mudd. I'm a member of Rotary West, and Alan is a wonderful new member of our club. And our club and Westside Business Association has partnered up to adopt the little park next to Staples on Missouri Boulevard. And it's the first part of it. It's been cleaned up some. It's a wonderful little park-like nook. Almost any day you go by, there's people and cars parked there enjoying the experience. So when you go by, look over at the park and know that Rotary West and Westside Business, along with the city and Parks and Rec, are improving that area, and we're proud to be a part of that.
I'm sorry, Alan, I missed. Where is this park?
It's right next to Staples on Missouri Boulevard.
Okay, thank you.
Any other announcements? Okay, Alan or Jeff, do you have anything you would like to say in closing?
I just want to say thank you for everybody for all the support and excitement we've felt about this project. It definitely keeps us motivated with all the challenges we meet, and can't wait to show you more when we have more to share.
Good. Okay, well, with that, yes, well, I think with that, we'll close it once again. Thank you very much to Alan Witt and to Jeff Tegetoff Development for taking this time to share about the exciting project, the Simonsen Lofts, and for their investment in our community. And we appreciate all the chamber members that tuned in. We had great participation, and looking forward to continued updates on this project. So with that, I wish everybody a happy holiday, healthy and good prosperity in the next few months. And we'll see you again. Our next Friday Coffee is January 8th. We will be continuing in Zoom until otherwise noticed. So with that, I'll close the Friday Coffee. Thank you.